Hello and welcome to the Afrocentric Woman. I'm so glad you are joining me this evening or afternoon or morning or whenever you're catching this video. I am so excited to have you here. I've missed you. You ladies on what I've been doing lately. Um, I, okay, just want to make sure that my um video still recording. Okay, I wanted to update you ladies on what I've been doing lately, and I have been delving into etiquette. I had no idea that I did not know as much as I did not know. I thought I was okay at etiquette. I mean, and I guess I had basic manners, just, basic human manners, know how to go to nice places and, hang and mingle with a variety of people and do okay to a really affluent area and different environment. And I've just come to the conclusion that what I knew before was definitely relevant and enough for where I was, but where I am now, I didn't quite have enough to get by here in this environment with extremely affluent people and lots of old money, some new money too. Maybe it's like half and half, but I mean, there's generational money over here. And so, over here with the children, I can tell you that things like cotillion are very important. Um, and I'm trying to stop saying so much and just kind of pause and kind of think and get my thoughts together instead of trying to fill the space. Cotillion is very important for children here. It's a finishing school of sorts. Debutante is extremely important over here. And so you have these multi generational people or families who have a tradition of having a space where all this etiquette is taught. So these children are taught about dining and business etiquette, meeting people, the order in which you introduce people, how to introduce people, how to go to dinner parties, how to go to fundraisers, how to go to charities, how to mingle in galas, how to meet new people, how to host, and all of that. And so it's very built into the fabric of the society. So these etiquette sort of behaviors or just general etiquette here, it's just very up leveled. I mean, you still have your kind of like people that are a little bit trashy, but they have money, but they're kind of trashy. You still have that for sure. But I would say in general, there most people follow the etiquette rules. And I just had no idea that I was so that I just was at such a deficit of just not knowing. And I may have shared with you ladies earlier, I don't quite remember, but I would get into these situations where I would feel very awkward because I really didn't know what to do. Um, because one of the challenges that I have is that I'm oftentimes in casual environments as it relates to the school or school functions or something around the children. It might be like a party for the children at somebody's house, but the moms get together. And so is that technically a dinner party? Is it not? Is it a cocktail? It's just kind of this gray area that makes it a little hard to navigate. But nonetheless, going into a space and meeting new people and all of the people that I know, I would say, are acquaintances. I'm starting to make what I would call friends now, but many, many people are just like at the acquaintance level. So you're still kind of getting to know people and there are new people coming into the fold, et cetera, et cetera. So there you go. So I've been reading books, well, audiobooks on, I've been listening to audiobooks on etiquette and looking at a few things online. I had always thought it was just overboard and I always would ignore. Sometimes I would get those suggestions for some of the etiquette channels or femininity channels, and I would usually just kind of ignore them because I just thought it was just too much. And I'm already good. I already know how to go out and have dinner, and already know, how to do all these things. And so I would just kind of, ignore them, or I would click that I wasn't interested. But now I have a few etiquette experts that I could go to and actually review some of those videos and know the meaning behind why the information is being taught. I'll give you a brief little story. So my very first job out of college, I was working for an international organization, and as soon as I was hired, we were already planning this conference. It was an international conference, and there were dignitaries coming from all over the world, NGO leaders coming from all over the world, people from the United Nations, people from the government, etc. And everybody on my team, we were all in our early to mid 20s, right? So all very inexperienced young people. And of course, there was a director and the lady that was like technically my manager, although I didn't work with her very often. Um, she did not come on this trip, but she was probably in her mid 30s at that point. And so we had this luncheon who in that particular province, she was like the representative of the queen, and she was seated somewhere that was unacceptable to her because there's just this line of order that none of us were aware of, that there is an etiquette, there is a guide for seating dignitaries, and it's all done by rank, and it's all done by, yeah, rank. I guess I wouldn't say seniority, I would say rank of importance. And so we just kind of sat people where we thought that they should sit, without taking that into notice, and it was just very embarrassing. um It was embarrassing. It was just such a mess. I mean, we had to move people around. It was so horrific. So anyway, we had to stay up all night learning this rule book. We had to get someone. Uh, I'm trying to think if it was someone from this other royal staff. I don't remember who, but it was like someone was gonna, like, consult with us. Oh, you know what? For that country that we were in, actually somebody from the government came to help us because, of course, they know. It didn't end up being an officially like, state-sponsored event because we didn't have quite enough dignitaries. If you have an event that has a certain amount of dignitaries, then technically co-hosting it, but, um and become involved with protocols and stuff like that because although it's not an official government event, it may be hosted by a private entity, but since it's in that country and there are dignitaries and royals coming, then the government of that host country gets involved if there's a certain amount of dignitaries. And we were like just under that threshold that government where we were didn't like partner with us and to do all the security and seating and all of that jazz. So the next day, I think we had a dinner and everything went off smoothly. Thank goodness. Um, so, I mean, I knew from that point that diplomacy is very important. Very, very, very important. How you address people, making sure you use the correct title, making sure that they are being addressed how they need to be addressed, in which order, and making sure that they and their team have everything that they need to be comfortable and to be good hosts and to be very diplomatic. But I still, at that point, did not really delve into etiquette all the way. I do remember meeting someone on one of those Royals team, and he was like, "Yeah, if she's available tomorrow, I'm going to introduce you to her, and you know, you can ask her. I can ask her if she can take a picture with you." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to meet a queen of so and so. Like, how am I going to do this? What am I supposed to do? Like, is bowing out of style?" Like, I was looking online at that time to see exactly what the protocol was for um, meeting a royal. It was fine. She's pretty laid back. I don't think that she was too caught up on the proper, everything. So it was fine, and she did take a picture with me. Anywho, um fast forward, some of the things that I've learned that have been helpful lately, and I definitely feel that I need a lot of practice, and I've already started practicing whenever I go into social settings. Tomorrow I have a lunch date with a new gentleman, so I'm excited to try my new dining techniques. I'm very excited about that. I kind of had an idea about like the silverware, how to use the cutlery, but I have like more information about like how to hold a wine glass, how to hold a teacup, how to hold a coffee cup, how to get the waiter's attention, how to fold your napkin, how to hold your cutlery, how to signal that you're resting or that you'll be back to the table, how to signal to the server that you are finished. Um, and I think I had one of those reversed because I may have been taking something from American style dining and pairing that with continental style dining, which is a little bit different. And I think that that's why some wait staff was so confused when they would come to me and they're like, they thought I like they and I would notice like they would keep leaving my plate and I was done. In my mind I was done, but I think I was mixing up continental with American from what I had in my mind. I don't know. And it looked like I was still maybe going to go back and eat some more. Anywho, now I get it. Now I know how to signal. And I think I'll just stick to the continental style because that's more internationally accepted. And it's more formal than American. So I'll just go with learning one thing at a time. It takes time to learn all these things. So I'm just going to focus on continental right now. So I'm excited to be able to go tomorrow and try out and practice the new information that I have on dining and see how that goes. The gentleman that I'm going out with tomorrow, he asked me to make a restaurant suggestion. He suggested one neighborhood, but it was going to be a bit inconvenient. I would have gone if that's all that worked because lunch is best for me and it's difficult for those who like work from an office. So if that was the only neighborhood that was going to work, then I was going to try to make it work. However, I offered up two other neighborhoods. He picked one and then he asked me where I'd like to go, and then I made a suggestion. I'm so happy that I found a fine dining place that serves lunch because many of them here don't. they only open for dinner. So I'm excited. It's going to be great to be able to try out these skills. I'm trying to think of some additional things that I've learned, so many, about how to introduce people, getting better about that. There's a way to do that and to be cognizant of people's seniority or their rank and their title. I used to really write a lot of thank you letters. Been a little lazier. I've been sending thank you text messages, and I realize that's pretty lazy. So I really do. I actually bought some stationery a few days ago, and so I'm excited about that. It's Teacher Appreciation Week this week, so we wrote thank you letters to the teacher. I have a few more teachers and staff at the school that I want to send thank you letters to, just for, just being amazing. And it's a challenging profession, working with young people, and I appreciate their contributions to the young people. So I want to send those thank you letters. So that's some of the information that I've been delving into as well. Host gifts. I mean, I I have a different perspective on it now about how to do better host gifts, because sometimes I'm always at a loss as to what to bring for a gift for someone who's, hosting a dinner party or some type of event at their home. So now I feel like I have some better guidelines on that. And I'll probably Google or do some research on host ideas as things come up. I was thinking about starting to just have a stash, maybe a basket or a tote or something, in my coat closet or somewhere in the house where I can just put some nice little gifts that, if I hadn't planned and I'm invited somewhere, that I could just grab something out of that gift, um, out of that gift bin, and take it as a gift to the host. So that's another idea I had, although it is very cool if you do know the host a little bit or have some idea of the things that they're interested in, and get something unique that they may like. Something small, but or something modestly priced. It's not about getting expensive gifts. It's really about getting something thoughtful and showing gratitude. So there's that. I think that learning some of these etiquette rules and guidelines has helped me feel more confident in social settings, because I have a more of a guideline as to what to do. And I think when you have information, you can feel less confused, less awkward, and it helps a lot to just know what's going on and what to do, what are your options. So that's really good. I'm glad for that. It has definitely increased confidence. I feel like I'm walking better. I'm I'm definitely enjoying the way I'm walking better. I'm also enjoying going up and down stairs. I feel like I do that a lot more gracefully now. I've been practicing going up and down stairs and walking more gracefully. I've always had pretty good posture, but having more information about how to handle your handbag when you're in a social setting. I mean, that's kind of like, what do you do with it? What do you do when you go to dinner? What do you do when you go to a bar? What do you do with your handbag? Um, One tip that has been really helpful was to carry your drink in your left hand so that your right hand is available to shake people's hands so that you can meet people and look approachable. So that is something that, it's just so many tips I feel like I've picked up through listening to these audiobooks and looking at some of the channels on etiquette. So I would definitely recommend you consider it if you, especially if you're someone like me. I didn't get any type of finishing school when I was young. My family's a little bougetto. We're a little country, a little bougie, a little ghetto, and we're all mixed in. So we definitely weren't heathens by any stretch of the matter. I mean, my grandmother was a Pentecostal Kojic, church mother. So we definitely we definitely had to represent a certain way for sure. However, once you start moving into different spaces, you realize that there's rules to the game, and you're there, and if you don't know the rules, you stick out. Even if you're dressed to the nines, even if you are beautiful and smart, clearly smart, if you don't know the rules, you stick out, because all these people, most of them know the rules. And so the way you enter the room, how you sit down, how you order your food, who orders first is important. Um, that's important. So all these things matter. And so if you don't know these rules, you'll stick out, and people will instantly know, oh, this lady is unrefined. so so depending on where you're moving around, it might make sense to definitely look into um the etiquette rules so that you can be in the know about what's going on around you, and you can be able to navigate different spaces comfortably because you will know the rules. I know some people did Jack and Jill when I was younger, when I was in like high school. I think I got invited to it might have been a cotillion. I know they had like a debutante ball for girls. They have something for the girls, and then they had something for the boys. And those were like two separate events. And one of my friends who was in Jack and Jill was trying to get me to go with this guy to be his date to the guy version of it. And I blew it off. I was like, yeah, I don't want to go. I thought that Jack and Jill people were so obnoxious, and I don't know. I went to a mostly white school, and I I had to deal with the challenges of navigating a mostly white space as a black girl, and it was exhausting. And I just didn't want to deal with black people that were going to be just as exhausting. So I was like, I'm good. I'm not going. I don't want to go to that event. I don't want to be bothered with y'all. But we all did NAACP. Well, many of us did NAACP together, so I would see them at NAACP, the kids that were in Jack and Jill. So, we all kind of socialize with one another. But yeah, now I realize so many things. Oh my goodness. I'll tell you one thing randomly. So I remember usually when I leave the table, I wouldn't say restroom, but I may say I'm going to the ladies' room. I would like announce this, not like loud, but just like let the person know where I was going. And I didn't realize that you're not supposed to do that. You're just supposed to excuse yourself from the table, but don't tell people that you're going to the ladies' room or the powder room. Um, who knew? I didn't know that. So, like I said, I'm soaking it all up. Probably gonna have to listen to that book again. I also have some ebooks too that I may kind of read through to see. It's always great to kind of have information reiterated. It's like I get the information, and lucky for me, I get to practice it right away. Get to practice it, within a day or two or three of reading or consuming the information. I get to practice. So that is exciting. It's helpful to be able to implement. You never just want to be in a situation where you're just constantly consuming information and you never have an opportunity to actually implement it. So that is very helpful. And I'm very excited that I get to teach my daughter all of these things from the very beginning. I get to teach her all of these things. And I was actually listening to the ebook with her in the car. And so I think that was very helpful that she's hearing the information from someone else because sometimes children tend to tune out their mothers. So by her listening to the ebook with me in the car when I'm guiding her in day-to-day activities about chewing with her mouth closed and how to gesture towards an object or person that she's trying to signal instead of pointing. This is how we gesture. So many things. Introducing herself, we're still working on that. So many things. So she's definitely more out. I will do with her. I'm not certain, but there are a few my immediate vicinity are very difficult to get into because they're very multi-generational. So people are kind of grandmothered into these cotillions, and there's not a lot of room for outsiders, quote unquote, even though we live here, we're still like not, you know, we're still not in the loop like that. But we have some northern suburbs, which is a lot newer money, and they have their cotillions and they're way more open because, like I said, it's new money. So if something local isn't available, then we may just go to one of the northern suburbs and do a cotillion over there. I've got some time. I think cotillion is like fifth grade or something. I've got some time to figure it out. So it's not like a major rush, but I've got my eyes open and I have my ears open for opportunities like that for those kinds of advanced finishing schools, or at least that's more of an introduction, but then taking her all the way through all the finishing schools, etiquette classes, so that this information could be second nature to her and she'll be able to navigate in affluent spaces and know the rules to the game. So that is my update, ladies. Maybe I'll come back and let you know how my date was. I'm not sure when I can do that, but be okay. We'll see. My eyes are open. I mean, I have an open mind about it. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So, and I'll let you ladies know if I can remember. If I can remember to let you know how the date goes. And gosh, I might possibly make a date on Saturday morning. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or if I'm just going to have some alone time and work on some projects that I have. I may do that. So we'll see. Time will tell. Alrighty, beautiful ladies, wanted to come on here and give you an update on what I've been into lately. I'm definitely trying to have less eyes and on the road to eliminating so many filler words. I was definitely cognizant of that even before I started to focus on etiquette. Just listening to the playback of these videos, I thought to myself, goodness gracious, I say a lot. You notice how many times you say and like, and so when you record yourself and you listen back to the record. So, and I think my vocabulary is pretty descriptive and advanced, yet I can even do better with that. I can do better with that. I can do better with voice control. So many things that I'm working on. And in the same neighborhood, but I just have to move to a different place. I'm excited about it. I think this is going to be a new beginning, and I can't wait until I get settled in because I would really like to host something. It may be a dinner party, it might be a wine and cheese, something along those lines, or a tea. I would like to host something um, for friends and neighbors and things like that. A long time ago, I don't know if this book is still circulating. There's a book called Never Eat Alone. It's a good book. It's called Never Eat Alone. It's a book about networking and relationship building. And there was some pretty good tips in that book about about hosting, but a lot of it was focused on like lunch dates with colleagues, potential business partners, potential clients, influential people lines. So it had a lot to do with reaching out and setting up lunch and like making sure that having a focus to um that darn word, having a focus to set up a lunch or dinner event time. And it's time you could be socializing with people and building deeper relationships. It's one thing to see someone at a networking event or even maybe someone, for example, let's say you're in IT and there's someone in HR and you see them in passing. You may even go and have a meeting with, you have a joint meeting every so often with them, but you really don't know them. But just going to that person and say, hey, I've seen you around at a few company meetings and I really liked what you said about da 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 report. And would you like to join me for lunch tomorrow? Boom, there you go. And then you get to know that person. You get to know that person a little better than just passing them in the hallway or seeing them at the water cooler. So I read that book years ago. I may have given that book away. I know I don't have it. I've moved several times since that book was released. So I may have donated or given it away. But it was a good book back in the day. And I think many of the tips in there stand the test of time. Timeless tips. So that is a goal of mine, is to get my home in a cozy manner, get it set up the way I want, and host a dinner party or cocktail party or wine and cheese, something along those lines. Alrighty, I'll keep y'all posted for sure. I'll keep you posted on how that's going and the move and settling into the new place and all of that. I am so grateful for you lovely ladies. I really do appreciate you. Even when I don't post regularly, the subscriptions are slowly continuing to increase. So for that, I'm very grateful because it probably means you lovely ladies are sharing the content, and I really do appreciate it. All right, talk to you soon. Y'all have a great day or night. Bye.